Wild fans, what a special treat I got for you. 25 seasons of Minnesota Wild hockey, and all year long we're going to catch up with some of the names that helped shape this franchise. One of those names that I haven't talked to in what feels like forever, but it's probably been 25 years, former Wild forward Cam Stewart. Cam, how are you, my friend?
Takes a shot, they score! Hendrickson took the shot. Initially it was stopped, and then banging it in on the rebound, I believe, is Cam Stewart. Stewart with the rebound, and the Wild have their first goal in a while.
I'm doing okay. Gosh, it seems like yesterday that we were laughing and chatting and just after a game or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you were here for 54 games in that inaugural season. The Wild splash onto the scene. You're part of that inaugural squad. Let's go back to the year 2000, or when you find out you're coming here, which was probably 1999. What were your first thoughts of joining this ragtag bunch of guys that probably didn't know much about each other at the time?
The Bad News Bears back in the day, I think we called ourselves. But, yeah, expansion drafts have certainly changed since back then. But, yeah, my claim to fame is I was the last pick in the expansion draft taken by the Minnesota Wild, and it's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me, to be honest with you. Obviously, I only got to play 1 year, and then that next year, my career was ended with my 10th concussion, but I stayed with the organization for a couple years and got to win a Calder Cup with the Arrows down in Houston, and just great memories and just privileged to have the opportunity to play in a great city.
There were so many great names when I think back to that inaugural season. And like I say, we're going on now 26 seasons of Minnesota Wild hockey. So when we rewind the tape a little bit and we think of names like yours, I've got a plethora of names that come to my mind. How about you? When you think back to that inaugural season and the time you spent here in the Twin Cities, who are some of those names that jump to the top of your mind?
Well, right off the hop, it's obviously Doug Riseborough, and then Mario. I say Mario before Jacques because Mario skated my ass off all the time. And Rammer, and then you have Mr. Hockey there, Darby Hendrickson. Like, having him show us around town was unbelievable, and he's still a great friend to this day. I saw him 2 weeks ago in Tampa at the development, the rookie tournament. Unbelievable, with Andrew Brunette, for gosh sakes. Yeah. So I saw them, and this hockey world is such a big world in a lot of people's eyes, but at the end of the day, it's a very tight-knit community that I've been very fortunate to be a part of.
You mentioned Darby Hendrickson, and he was on that inaugural team, scored the first goal in the history of what was then XL Energy Center. I don't know many guys that in the 25 years that have passed could still lace him up, and Brunette might be another one. There's very few guys that could still play in the National Hockey League right now. Darby Hendrickson is a specimen, Cam.
Oh, my gosh. The pipes were out in Tampa. He was tanned up. Walking out with, the rookies, he looked like he could still play, and I totally agree. I will say there's a guy that fanned on that puck.
Gillis up along the boards, picked up by Shusinski. To Darby Hendrickson, he scores! Shusinski to Darby Hendrickson, and it's Richfield's Darby Hendrickson with the first ever goal here at the XL Energy Center, and we're tied 1-1.
I say I gave him the goal, but I actually missed the whole puck that came across the crease, and he put it in on his knee.
Did you at least end up with an assist on that one?
I didn't. I just got a good picture of the first goal. We're hugging behind the net.
That's fantastic. Another name that comes from that inaugural team is still with the franchise in Brad Bombardier. Ran into him not too long ago, and I asked him, give me your best Cam Stewart story. And he says something about a drill, you and Jeff Nielsen rushing into the zone, and he doesn't remember where the puck ended up, but he looked over and he saw both you and Nielsen swinging from the crossbar, and that's how you guys finished up that play.
I kind of tell the story like Mario and Jacques told both of us, just go to the net, open up space. And we both went to the net, and we both ended up in it, probably hit the crossbar. Like I said, a bit of the Bad News Bears with that crew.
That's fantastic. You guys did, I mean, 25 wins as an inaugural team. I know the bar's been set a little higher now lately with teams like the Las Vegas Golden Knights coming in and going to the Stanley Cup Finals in their inaugural season. You guys didn't have the benefits that team did in the year 2000. You and the Blue Jackets. It was kind of a different situation, but one thing you definitely had in your favor was that coaching staff. You mentioned Tremblay, Jacques Lemaire. To me, Cam, I mean, I've had many guys that I've worked with over 25 years of wild hockey. He's right at the top of the peak of guys that I've respected and enjoyed working with so much.
You know what, Jimmy Dowd, another teammate of the Wild, he got to work with Jacques when he was younger. I was 29 years old. My career obviously ended with that concussion. I learned more from Jacques Lemaire than I did from almost all my coaches in my 9 years pro in that one season. And he just, everyone thought he was defensive, but then you look at Marian Gaborik and he was the top leading scorer for rookies, right? Like, it wasn't about and now every team plays the 1-2-2.
Yep.
And everyone said he was so defensive, but he just saw the game so well. And I had the opportunity because of my concussions and then getting into the coaching aspect, watching video with them. Oh my God. You learn more watching a video of a game with Jacques than I would in half a year. It was unreal.
You mentioned the fact that we know that the career didn't end the way you exactly wanted to. 10 concussions, all that stuff. That's awful news. First and foremost, I look at your face. We had the opportunity to look via video. You look fantastic. How are you doing as we make our way, a quarter of a century away from your playing career?
You know what? I'm doing okay. There's been a lot of ups and downs like there are in anyone's life. And, obviously, my head and my other injuries I did by playing how I did have come up. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's what I was supposed to do. And that season, I have so many Noodles and Moose and Darby and Neely and Bomber and like Walsey and Bruno, like I could just, and that's coming from Concussion Cam, remembering all those names. So,
yeah.
It was just amazing. And now I'm, like we talked about earlier, I'm kind of do as I say, not as I did for my clients. And I'm representing NHL players now and just kind of putting them into all the situations to succeed, which we didn't have back then, and to stay healthy and both physically and mentally. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I mean, it's like that team, you and I are just talking like it was like yesterday. It was 25 years ago.
You're absolutely right.
It's ridiculous, but that's how hockey is, right? You can just get on the phone or have a beer, right? It's like fighting, and then you have a beer with the guy after. Like, it's
100%.
Hockey.
You bring up the changes in this sport. I give Tom Reed a lot of crap. My radio partner here in Minnesota, he goes back to the 60s and 70s, right? I mean, he's still around doing a great job. But I know.
Oh yeah, we were at his bar after every game having a beer.
Absolutely. Yes. And the Fuzzy Foreigners. It was great. So things have certainly changed since the 60s and 70s. But even in the time from when you left the game as a player, it's just completely different, isn't it?
Yeah. Just watching training camp, like there'd be 8 fights a game, right? Like, and now there wouldn't be 8 fights for a season for a team.
Exactly. You're right.
And everybody's looking out for each other. And sometimes, like back in the day, like I don't know how many times I look at the screen and I said, that's a clean hit back in the day, but now it's a headshot, right? My career ended. I don't even think Scott Ferguson got a penalty and my career was over. And it was at the end of the day, my head was down and it was a clean hit back then. So we're protecting, which we should. I don't want anyone to have to go through kind of some things I went through and have gone through. And again, that's why it's do as I say, not as I did, agent.
So explain to me your gig these days. You've alluded to it a couple of times, representing NHL players. What are you doing? Who are you working for? And what's life like for the Cam Stewart of 2025?
Yeah, I've been in the business. I got into coaching, obviously, and got to win a Calder Cup with Todd McLennan for the Wild in Houston. I was there for like 4 or 5 years, and now I just started representing players, and that's where my heart is, and that's where I think I can help out the most. So that's how I kind of got into the agency business after running a mouthguard company, actually Bite Tech out of Minnesota, and we partnered with Under Armour, and I kind of started that up here in Canada.
Look at you. Yeah, you're all grown up. This isn't the Cam Stewart I remember from 2000. You're a grown up here. Look at you.
It's funny when you run into Darby or Bruno or whatever, we don't even say anything to each other, and we just start laughing.
Sounds about right. It's good stuff. Hey, Cam, I really appreciate this. Like I said, our goal this year is to touch base with as many guys like you, not only from that inaugural season, but that have spanned the years over 25 seasons. I hope to see you here in Minnesota real soon. Swing by and say hi, would you?
If I come in, I'll reach out 100%, and let's stay in touch. It better not be another 25 years.
It won't be. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it. Enjoy that Toronto traffic.
Yeah, you got it, Kev. Thanks a lot, man.